Hi guys, so in today's video I'm going to try out this knitting loom I just picked up from Amazon. It's the Sentro 40 needle or 40 pin loom. I kind of showed it a little bit in my previous video where I reviewed and set up the Addy Express king size knitting loom, which I am just in love with. Of course that one is more expensive than this guy, and this guy being the smaller machine. I think that Sentro or brands like it make like a 48 pin and then 40, which is this one, and then 30 something, like 20 or 22, and then some different things, right? So today's is the 40 because I already have the 46 Addy. I figured I wanted something that makes something a little bit smaller. I didn't want to go with the 48. You know, for smaller hats and maybe leg warmers or whatever. So I will link in the description box. That would be an affiliate link, which means I'll make a small commission if you purchase items to those links. So this hat I did make literally just yesterday, and my daughter, as soon as she got home, she's like, "Is that for me?" And so she's like wearing it. My son is a teenager, he's 13. My daughter is 8. Was like, "Ooh, let me wear that." So he kept wearing it, and they would wear it this way, they would wear it down like this, so more slouchy. I mean, it looked cute on them, on both of them, both ways, and Miranda's really excited about it. And so with Dorian, it's like, well, maybe I'll make him a black hat, or just like a plain one, you know. It looked really cute. He has long hair, so it just looked really precious. But anyhow, this is the one I made on the Addy in just, you know, probably it took me about 45 minutes, maybe less, to actually get it all done. But I was also making a tutorial and speaking with you guys about it. So if I was just sitting here and cranking it out, it probably would have taken much less time. But again, I put a little texture in it. Even though it was a video for a beginner, I think that was easy to do, and it came out perfectly. So we have that textured hat. Today I did grab this because it's just some yarn I have in my stash, and it's Big Twist. Again, I think this is from Joanne. Big Twist Living. It says 100% anti-pilling acrylic. The reason I grabbed that is because this one didn't say that, and it's a tweed, and you know, some of these little tweed bits kind of fall off, like this one already wants to fall off. So not great, but there it is. Again, it's a size 4 medium worsted weight yarn. I honestly feel like if we can go a little thicker, that'd be good. So like a little bit heavier worsted. I know it seems weird because worsted weight means 4, but like a 5 where it's like a light chunky or whatever number 5 is, I don't remember. Would be good, because this one, at least on the Addy, I mean, it does make some big holes, right? Right now I'm finishing up knitting by hand some leg warmers, and I used not the wrong circular knitting needle, but the smallest one that came in a set, because I'm doing a review on the needles, and I just need to finish up that second leg warmer. More than halfway through, and I haven't finished it. But it is stretching, right, as I'm working with it, because it had to be really stretched out, but it went back to shape. This one still has like big holes. So just something to think about, which would make you think that maybe you can go with a little bit thicker yarn, right? We'll see how far apart these needles are, right? Because that's the other thing. The machine obviously sets that for you because of how far apart the needles are. So in today's video, I want to make it very basic. Let's open this guy up, get it set up, do our first hat. I might just run through this whole thing. We'll see. This is not the biggest skein. It's a 110 gram or 3.85 ounce skein. I did bring this out because I thought, well, maybe we should do a color change, just something so it wouldn't be so basic, you know. But again, if it's for Dorian, he might just like just being black like this. So I may not do that, but maybe the color change will be next time. Honestly, it's so easy. You just add it and then you just tie it off. It's not the biggest deal, but just to have something different, right, in your hat. I mean, there's lots of fun different tricks that you can do, different patterns to get texture, and you can, they're just like thousands of videos, I'm sure, on all those things. But again, this one says knitting machine, magic loop loom, and the link I found this at was the most like inexpensive price for this kind of machine, and it didn't say it was gonna be Sentro. It had like only Roti or something like that, ONLYROTI. Like I said, I'll have it linked in the description box. And even if you got the bigger size, it's still the best price that I had seen, but I don't know, it didn't say it was a Sentro. It just had pictures or images. I was like, huh. But here it is, and it says it's a Sentro knitting machine. So let's open this guy up. Yeah, on here it says only Roti, just like I had said. So I don't know. Oh, it has tape. This is very cute. Like if you were gifting this, I think it's packaged very cute. I know some people's complaints on reviews are that it's pink and it could just be something else. And I'm like, yeah, it's pink and it's so cute. Like, why would you want it to be something else? Oh, you know what? We can open it here and here. But I guess to be more serious looking, right? But I don't need it to be more serious looking. I want it to be cute. And so let's open this guy up. Basically, it's like this, I guess. So let's see what's in here. Yeah, I can tell there's stuff in the middle, so I just let it kind of fall out. But yeah, I think the packaging is really cute. So there's that. And it's well protected, in my opinion. It is cute. Just looking at it now in real life, I remember somebody had said that it is Sentro, and it's on there really nicely. It's not a sticker, it's like a really thick lacquer kind of thing. That this reminds her of whenever she had her children. You know, I mean, there's different reasons. Obviously, people go to the hospital. The only reason I've ever really been at the hospital is to have babies. And I would say even a bedpan that they give you, or like the water cups and those kinds of things, are all like this kind of pinky color. So I don't know. She's right on that one. That's for sure. Okay, cool. So now, okay, it comes with these circular knitting needles, which is actually really great. They're kind of thick, but again, the loops that this thing makes are kind of big, so I can see why you would want something like this, because generally a knitting needle has like a wire or like a nice heavy gauge wire, but it's like very flexible, and they don't just glue on like this. But what I was going to say, as far as hats and making them nicer, because like, you know, this is just going to be one the same size. You're going to scrunch it up at the top, and that's how you get it to be a hat. You can also take this off, like at the end when we cast off, but instead of casting off onto the thread that's just there with like a needle, you can get it on this all the way around, and now all of a sudden you have that whole circular hat, whatever you're making, on here. And then you can actually do decreases if you're a hand knitter, and I am a hand knitter. Like I know how to knit, and I love knitting, and you can make it nicer, right? So the whole stockinette part of it, where you're just knitting, it will look really cute and fast, and then you can finish it off like a nice hat. So something to think about. But it does come with that, and I don't even know if they discuss using this, but that'd be really cool, because that's a really nice thing to have. It came with a few little skeins of yarn. They are rough. This one feels soft. This one feels a little rough. Yeah, kind of like if you've seen the yarn at the Dollar Tree, that's how this feels. Not super soft. I mean, not super rough, but a little bit rough. This one is the softest one, so maybe the color treatment, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. And it just says knitting accessories. So something to practice with. Maybe this could be your waist yarn. I know with some projects you want waist yarn, you know, if you're not, I don't see what this would make for you. This is going to be very small. Like, it's not a large enough amount to make anything really. Maybe a twisted headband, I don't know. But we'll put those to the side for right now. I'll say, oh, we have a screwdriver. That's nice. Whenever I get things like this in like IKEA furniture sets or other things, I just keep them. But how cute is this one? It's like a pale like lavender. It goes into like a hot pink, and it's a Phillips, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see it's the kind that has like, not a star, but like the little foyers. Again, Phillips. We have our suctions that help your machine stick to the table, so we'll see how that goes. I know plenty of people say they just tape theirs to the table with tape, and I don't know if I'm going to put tape on my dining room table, so we will see how it goes. These are your legs that looks like we're just going to push in. There are 4 of them. This bag is kind of a little bit torn there. I don't want to lose something. You have your tensioner, which they sell on Amazon and other places, like extras of these, so I have a feeling that means it's not like the most substantial thing. We'll see. There's a reason why they sell a lot of them, right? Like you'll buy a pack of like several plus like some needles or whatever. Does not come with extra needles, which like the Addy Express that I showed you guys yesterday did. And it comes with some other extra little things. It has a 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. It's very bendy, but that might be necessary for this kind of project. You can use this for lots of different things. Sometimes what you can do is reverse the stitches so that you get like a rib look or like some pattern from it. I probably would never do that with this because I think that would be a real pain, but you have, excuse me, I just like was not talking. But you have your crochet hook. I was just sitting there like, what did I just say? And then we have 2 2 plastic, again, needles. I love that everything coordinates. This is really cute. For me, it's cute, and I love cute, so there we go. So we have a smaller needle that's actually a little bit thinner. I mean, sorry, thicker in the needle part of it here, the body of it, I don't know. And then this one's a little bit thinner and longer. So we have those. And then it comes with some extra info about accessories installation instructions. So they're telling you to put your little legs on. How am I holding this? I don't know why. I guess I was reading this sideways and then I'm like, what are we? So this is just showing you should have the 4 screws, the 4 suctions, and then the legs, which we do have. Place the suction cups into the notch of machine pillars and then go ahead and put your legs in with the screwdriver. So we will do that. And then some info. Weaver Epoch. It says loop knit and plain knit selectable just by simple switch. Delivers lovely fabrics, can now be knitted out. And like I said, the examples they give you on the case, on the packaging, has nothing to do with what you're going to be able to make on here. Some of the things obviously take extra work or extra stitching or lots of different things. It's not indicative of what you can make in this. Loom knit items to me have a very specific look. Well, this isn't a loom, but knitting machine items. Kind of similar. So what they were saying is that you can make a circular panel or you can make a circular tube, I guess, and a panel, right? Panel means flat. They're showing you kind of the anatomy of the hook there and tube knit or plain knit selection, which is here. So, I don't know that matters, but it's just basically going to tell the machine to do something, I'm assuming. So, oh, that's nice. It's not hard to switch. And then our little handle is really cute. I think this is why people have like a machine thing that you, or an adaptation that you can add to this to use a drill, because you kind of do have to hold on to it like this. And what I like about the Addy is like it's a big piece just like this, and you can, I didn't even have to hold it. I can just go like that and it was turning, you know? So this one, yeah, you gotta hold it. You don't have to hold it hard or anything like that, but maybe with people with like dexterity issues, that might be a problem. But the Addy, yeah, it's just like this big knob like this. It was out here and I just went like this. Didn't even hold it. It would go. So it does move freely, obviously. We haven't done anything here. And like I said, this is 40 pins. And let me show you before we get too far. The pins are numbered, and I forgot to show that, or I talked about it in the last video. I don't know how to get this thing in focus. There we go. So like in here, it says 20, 9, oh, no, sorry. Yeah, 20, 19, 18, 17. I don't know if you can see them, very small. And the beginning pin, I would assume it's the beginning pin or the end pin, I guess. I'm assuming it's the beginning. Yeah, it's number 1, is black. So we can bring that guy back to the front, and this does not have a counter. So you can add a counter, you can buy one, you can use a little clicky thing if it matters. I'm just gonna keep using this until this runs out. So that's what we're doing today. I'm not trying to keep track of anything that's going on there. So that's what we're doing today. But let me put this over here. Let's go ahead and open this guy up and use our brand new tools. So I can see that we have our 4 suctions, and I do have 4 little screws in there, so that's good. And like I said, first thing is to put these suctions onto these guys. So I'm just gonna take a moment to do that. And let's see how well they hold on. Oh yeah, it's gonna be really good because it's very cinched there for the thickness of this guy. So, oh my goodness, almost too well. Sorry, I gotta get this closer to me. I just kind of rotated it and it kind of is falling in. Oh yeah, so that's held on very well, I will say. And you know, it's just a suction. Yeah, wow. Okay, let me push in the other 3 and I'll be right back. Gosh, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, that was not easy. Like, if my husband was here, I would have him do that. Trying to ruin my nails over here. But okay, so we have that. And then we're gonna have these 4 little screws. And I don't know why, I always feel weird about turning this thing over, even the other one, because I feel like the needles kind of move, but I guess it's okay. And so there's like a little area right here, like a little gap that when you put it here, that's where the screw's gonna go down into. Hopefully you can kind of see that. So let's just go for it. And I'm gonna put these screws down. I'll just have one at a time. Wouldn't it be nice if it was magnetized, but it's not. Okay, so obviously I'm gonna pop this into that little space right there. And I'm gonna try to do it. See, nope. I guess I could rub this on a magnet. Have you guys done that before, where you rub it like on a magnetic surface and then it kind of gets a little bit magnetic. But okay, I'm trying to do this in a straight, like down fashion. What's interesting is they tell you to put these things on first, and I can see why, but they are in the way. It is definitely in the way. Is that all the way in? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, I'm gonna keep. I don't really know when to stop. Like, I don't want to crunch it, but at the same time I want it to be in there. So that looks pretty good. I'm trying to see if this is supposed to be flush. Let's see. How much further? No, I guess that's it. It's kind of a gap. So I'm going to still tighten it up as much as I can, but I feel like that's it, you know? Okay, I'll do the other 3 and I'll be right back. So I actually put this on my lap and I just did whatever I had to do. Hopefully that's, you know, all the same. Oh, it wants to stick already, so that's good. Look, I didn't even push it down. That's actually pretty good. I'm assuming it depends on your surface. Now, I did use Pledge on this the other day, and so you would think it'd be like oily and maybe problematic, but it's on there. I mean, I would think if it pops off, it's because you are using a yarn that the machine doesn't like and it's like really cranking it and it's not wanting to stay. Or your surface has like some kind of texture to it, right? So those are some different things to think about. This instruction is kind of like, okay, I don't know. I'm gonna have it on, let's see, T for tube and P for plain knit. When they're talking about plain knit, they mean like a panel. So for me, P would mean panel because it's plain knits everything. Like, this doesn't do any tricks or anything. Everything's just knit, 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 right? So we're going with tube, so it's up. We have a handle, we have our thread holder, which we have not placed in. It doesn't say anything about that, but that's fine. These instructions are already not as good as like the Addy ones, obviously. They're color and they're beautiful and all that, but suggestion on the degree of thread's tightness. So this tensioner right here, depending on where you put your thread, that's what's gonna keep it the tension, right? And it seems like most people put it in the middle, but I would like, I guess we can start there. I would like quite a bit of tension, I feel like maybe it was a little bit loose when I made my Addy one. So next time I might tighten that up, put it in a different spot. But we'll see. So I have no idea where this goes. Well, I know where it goes, but like, let's, I feel like I'm gonna break the legs off. That is crazy. That is some good suction. Okay. I'm trying to see if this is supposed to be up or down. Is that an image that we can... Okay, so this little pokey part should be up, so I guess that means we're gonna pop it in here. We're kind of squeezing it, guys. I don't know if you can see, it has a little bit of give. It doesn't have holes down here to like push in, so you have to get it right in there and then just give it a squeeze. Okay, so there's that, although it didn't really discuss anything about that unless I missed it, but I didn't see anything about that. All right, practice before starting to knit. Put the main body on a stable flat tabletop and set the knit switch to tube knit position. Turn the handle clockwise for a while to get familiar with such set thread onto the unit. Yeah, and that's always good information. I'm definitely going to spend some time. I'm not. I'm just going to do the thing. Set the knit switch to the tube position. Again, lower the thread into the cylinder. And then it just says, you know, thread inlet, that's fine. Turn the handle forward. When do we use the tensioner? So odd. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best instruction. Turn the handle forward, the central needle right before you will go up. Set the thread to the inner space of the hook needle, 1 to the right of the thread inlet as the figure shows. Basically, we're gonna go in front of and behind, but you know, it's not the best. Okay, we're gonna do the thread later, the tensioner. So basically they're telling you to go in front and behind, just like we would if you are familiar at all with these machines. That is honestly not that much information, but let's go for it. So I'm gonna use this. And again, I have a little yarn winder cake maker, but I'm just going to use this on here because it's a nice skein. It should be able to just pull out, but you're kind of digging around to the center to find the center of your yarn. And I like when companies actually make it so you can find the end very easily, but sometimes you can't. So you pull out this whole thing, right? So there's the end. And you want to make sure this is not knotted. I know in the center a lot of times, it's not that it's knotted, it's just small area that was just like bunched up, and sometimes things happen there, just like right now. Or even when you pull it out, maybe you're pulling it from the very middle, but this other side, it should have been on the other side, whatever. Just get those knots out before you really start. I'll be right back. I'm just going to, well, actually, I guess I'm done. Okay, there we go. All right. We need to just start off with some thread, or yarn, should I say, yarn. So I'm going to put it in here. And you know what, okay, so let's get a little bit closer. Again, right now we're not putting it in this tensioner, so that doesn't matter. I'm going to get a little bit closer so we can look right in, see what we're doing. This is just here. It's not touching anything. I know it's black thread, and I'm sorry it's hard to see, but let's get to the first guy. Actually, let's hear this again. Ooh, it sounds very nice. Like I said, it's very sturdy. Okay, so as you come around, if this is number 1, and I don't have any other way of really seeing that, and I don't have a stitch counter, I'm thinking I might color like with some ink, some black on here, just some, I know what I mean by ink is like a black marker, a Sharpie, I don't know. Okay, so if this is number 1, he's kind of up, I know it's hard to see, he's up here right now, we have the end, we're gonna go in front of that one, okay? I went in front, so that your thread goes into the hook. We're just gonna hold it loosely and give it a turn, and we're gonna go behind this one, so we don't care about that guy anymore, or the next one. We're gonna go behind it, and then we're gonna go in front of the next one. And I'm still holding it because I'm scared, but as I turn it, now that one's getting your black thread, or whatever, oh my gosh, your black yarn is going down in here. So now we can let it go. It's gonna go behind that one. We're doing this slowly, in front of this one, behind the next one, in front of the next one. Again, this is 40 pins, so it's not going to take too long. And I'm just going for it, behind and in front, behind and in front. I guess what other thing that can help you as you're doing this is, I always look at the end of my yarn, and I know that's kind of the beginning of my round. So, and I kept calling them rows before. They're really rounds. But anyway. But once it gets too long, it's hard to tell that, so behind in front, behind in front, behind in front, and behind, right? So this last one's gonna be behind. But we need to go ahead and set our yarn in here. So what we're going to do is put it right in this space. It's kind of holding it, which is nice. And then you're going to choose which tension you want to select. And like I said, I think I want medium. I'm gonna go medium. So I'm gonna go into this, hopefully, can you see that? Woo, go into this first one, and then out this second one. So underneath. But again, you can do a combination of whatever you want for that to work for your yarn. Ooh, I did it a little tight there. You know, if it's better just to be in the first one, or how about the first and then going through this one? Whatever it is that you want to do, to be honest. You're just going to play around with that. Now, they did say to practice, and I did not. So we will see if that tension is okay. So that's kind of where we're at right here when it's talking about the last needle. And then you're just going to go and place it right in the center here. It does say make sure to keep the thread loose. Okay. In the above mentioned way, alternately guide the thread past the hook's inner space and the back of the needles till the thread circles the cylinder once. If the thread has been correctly set, it should finally pass the back of the last needle, which is what happened, right? We came around the back of this guy. As shown in the figure, let the thread pass through the thread inlet and then put it on the thread holder, which we just did. And I don't know. It doesn't say anything after that. It just says a tube knitted fabric will look as the right figure. Okay, after correctly setting the thread into the unit, you can go on to knit while turning the handle. Remember to loosen the thread in the front of the thread inlet. Turn the handle slowly in the first 3 circles. After 4 or 5 circles, remember to put the thread end in the cylinder tight before going on. Okay, I don't know, but all right, so this is gonna be our first rounds. So let me back up just a little bit, because obviously that's there. I don't know that it really matters that you see me turning this, but here's the handle. And I don't know why I always want to hold the thread, but to be honest, I think I just got used to that with the Addy, because the Addy is just here. This is actually pretty nice, because actually I probably don't even have to hold anything. I can just kind of hold the machine. But at this first one, I'm going to go slowly because I want to make sure everything's good. Oh, see, I'm already going to miss something. Let me show you real quick. Peek over here. That little slit, this guy's over here. So let's make sure it's actually in where it needs to be. Wow, okay. You know what? I couldn't see it from back in the angle I'm at, so I had no idea. Okay. So again, I don't really have to hold it. It went behind that guy, and you can kind of push it down too, like if you want to make sure it's behind these pink guides. These things right here on these little bits, not that they don't do anything, they hold your yarn down, but they don't like pop up or do anything like that. So like right now, this needle is going to go in there. I can kind of push this down under that pink guide just to make sure that we're going to be good. But again, when you're doing that, you gotta make sure this needle catches this yarn. So I'm moving it away from me, right, the handle. So forward, and yeah, I can see that the needle's gonna grab it, and I know it's black, and so it's hard to tell, but that's going, and that one's grabbing it, and that one's grabbing it. So before, when we went in front and behind, you're only gonna have stitches, one here, not here, one here, not here. But now, when you start going, every needle is gonna grab the yarn. And although I feel like that's a little tight, my tension, I like it. We'll see. So I'm keeping an eye, making sure everyone's grabbing what they need, and yeah, I feel like that tension is a little too much. Let me try one more. Just because you see how it's like, it's not super smooth. Let's take it out of the middle one. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove that and just let it be in the first one. It just seems too tight, guys. And I'm just telling that by the sound and by, you know, cranking how that feels. So let's see what this feels like. Still has kind of a poppy sound, but it does run smoother. I wonder. And it says that's the least amount of tension, which is funny. The first one says least, and then medium, and then more at the end. But okay, I mean, as far as I'm seeing, my little yarn is getting caught. It's kind of cute because as you look at it, you see the yarn that's going this way. Let me see if I can get that closer. It catches it over here, where in the Addy, I think it catches it right in front. This one's catching it more like out here. Did you see that? It feels real nice here in the, okay, now we're getting to a part where my yarn is, needs to be pulled a little more. And that is the sound it's making. I have no idea how many rounds that has been. And I apologize for that, but like I said, I'm pretty much just going to use up my yarn. A nice hat, I would say 120 rounds. You want it slouchy, maybe 140 rounds. I have no idea where we are at. Everything looks good. You see I'm going faster now. That tensioner is really nice. Okay, that's what I'm gonna keep doing. Nothing different. If you were gonna change colors, it's real easy. You know, you generally change it at the beginning of a round. And I am so sorry about the choice of black yarn. I was gonna say maybe I can put this under here so you can see a little better. Yeah, maybe that makes it pop instead of the table. I'm gonna come back when I have probably about 20 rounds done, which I don't even know what that means because I have no idea where I'm at. But I do like that tensioner. I just have the yarn sitting here. Let me show you right quick. Like literally just sitting next to it. You can put it on the floor. I guess I'm not showing you that quickly. It's just right here. And I should probably move these extra things out of the way. And it's just pulling it from here. Like, look, I'll just keep turning right now. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just letting the tensioner do its job. And it doesn't look like I'm dropping stitches or anything. It's just coming right out of here. Oh, yep. I was gonna say it's probably gonna feel a little tight because it just got to that very middle again. So let's, you know, inside the skein, sometimes I can feel there's a lot of tension there. So let's just pull that out some. All right, I'm just gonna keep going. I'll be back when, like I said, well, maybe when I have a couple inches of fabric done. I will say it's looking real good. Yeah, when I had that little tension kind of problem in this last clip, I finally pulled it and a whole ball came out again. So again, it might be worth, you know, yarn winding, even if you have a skein, just so that you know your yarn is just like nice and just ready to go. And these things, you know, they're just wound and thrown in there. I don't know. Okay, so I'm assuming this is like, I guess I could probably count how many rows if I really looked at the stitches, but I have no idea, or rounds. So again, just kind of keep it, you don't have to pull this, like you don't want to mess with it too much, but just after you start getting more and more fabric, you don't want your little stitches to pop off these little pink, these little areas down here. and that's when you lose stitches. So just as I'm going, I'm always paying attention, just making sure that each one of these things has a set of black yarn kind of wrapped in there, right? These little areas. And I'm just gonna keep going, and whenever it gets longer, I'll pull it down a little bit more, and I'll come back once it's like a good amount of fabric. A few minutes. Yeah, and again, I'm not really messing with my yarn, and it's just sitting here on the table, and if I start feeling that it's tight, I check out the yarn, like make sure I don't have any knots or anything like that. But again, if you want to guide it in your hand, like here, if you just hold it like that as you're cranking, then you'll know before the machine knows that something's coming up, right? Or like not wanting to come out nicely. It's so interesting if you watch the machine, the anatomy of these stitches, or what the needles do. As you can see, here you don't really see it. There's one kind of coming up. It comes up, and as it pops up, it pops this loop that's on there off, like behind its back, right? And then I don't know how to explain this because it just, like, even me looking at it, I'm like, huh? It comes up, it pops the one off. So basically, I think there's like 2 loops is what happens. So as it comes up, there's still that one in front of it, and it's moving up, it's moving up. It's going to catch the new one, and it's going to pull it down into this loop. But it's kind of interesting how one pops off. It's kind of weird. So as you really watch it, if you really want to know like the anatomy of what's going on, see what I'm saying? It pops, the needle pops up, and then that loop pops off the back. And as it comes up, it brings the loop that was behind it, or like behind the last row, up in front, and then over here it catches the new thread. So it's kind of interesting if you're looking at how it's actually doing what it does. It's been going well, guys. I mean, it is a little bit loud. I feel like the Addy doesn't stitch as loud, but the stitch looks really nice and even. Like, this looks amazing. I love it. So anyway, as it gets longer and longer, you can kind of ball it up on itself. Again, give it a little tug here and there just so that your stitches don't end up falling off, but I don't think they're even going to fall off because of the fabric, which is nice. So I'm going to keep working. So at first I was like, why would you want that thing that you adapt here and use the drill with for the handle to spin it? But yeah, if you're just making this plain knit, get that machine going. Why not? Just let it go, because it's getting a little hot. I'm getting a little like, woo. It's only been minutes, you guys, and I have literally nothing left here. I mean, you can see it's like squishy, like, I mean, just a few rounds left. So, like I said, I'm pretty much going to finish off that whole scheme. So I've just been holding it here just because I feel like I have to, but you really don't. Like, I don't even have to touch it. So you can see it's really suctioned to my table, but just out of habit, I'm just holding it. And yeah, I'm just gonna almost finish up. I'll leave basically like a yard of a tail, yard length of a tail, and I'll be back. Okay guys, I have the smallest, not smallest, but like just a little bit of a tail left. Oh, you know what I should do is pay attention to the rounds. So let's get right there. That's probably what I'll do, because I don't know if I have enough to do a whole other round. Yeah, so that's maybe a yard and a half, but like I don't know how much it takes to do a round, so I think we're gonna stop there, and that is the last of our round, right? Because here's our first black needle. So a couple things. We're gonna take this out of the tensioner and take this out of here. We do not want it to get caught in that first one, because it's just gonna make another stitch. I guess it's not the end of the world, but it's not the biggest deal. Just take it out of there. Okay, really you want it to be this one catching the last one, right? So that is, in this machine, number 40. If you had a 48 pin, that would be number 48, you know, whatever. So we're gonna take this, I'm just gonna drop it in the center. I know it looks like a black hole, and I'm so sorry, but my son, you know, he's a teenager, he's angsty, he likes black, wears black every day. That's just what he does. So, black hat. Okay, so we can put this on a needle if you want already. I'm gonna use the shorter needle, why not? And actually we can cut this down, you don't have to use the whole thing. So, whatever, but for now, yeah, maybe I should trim it down. I need to grab scissors to do that, but either way, I'm gonna pop this on my needle. And I'm not looking at the instructions at this point, so I will bring them out just to see kind of what they're saying and what we're doing. And I'm just gonna pull the rest of that end out. I'm gonna trim this down, it's too long, we don't need all that. But for now, let's pop it right back in here. And let's get our instructions and see what they're saying as far as casting off. Tube knit method. I'm not gonna lie, I probably will never use the panel functions on either one of the machines I have, because it's not really something I'm interested in, but we'll see, maybe. We'll see. Okay, how to separate fabric from knitter. again, like we did, they said to cut it off, obviously, where you use the whole skein. And I'm gonna tell you right now, just the way this fabric looks, I love it. I love it. I'm gonna be honest, better than the Addy machine, but what I'm thinking is, this probably does really well with like weights 3s and 4s, and mostly 4s, you know, of worsted weight. And the Addy probably needs a little bit something thicker because it just made the biggest gaps. And I'll even take a measurement of like the spaces here. I feel like this one's tighter. The Addy's a little bit more spread out, but we'll see. I think that's what makes the difference. Okay, and then it says to follow the process in page 8 to end final thread. This is 7, this is 8, okay. Hold the thread end vertically and turn the handle clockwise for the cylinder to rotate slowly. The fabric will then be gradually separated from the needles. Okay. This is weird. Method 1, end the thread on the knitter. Okay. Method 2, end the thread without the knitter. Guide the knitting needle through the edge stitches once. That is weird. If I let this fall off of here without using, without gathering the stitches, you're gonna be in a world of hurt. So I don't know what that little picture shows, like, oh yeah, it'll be fine. No, it will not be fine. That's crazy. Okay, so we're gonna do it this way, which obviously everybody does. You know, just says, carefully remove the fabric from under the main body. Make sure the stitches will not break down. Weird. Yeah, obviously if you do it this way. Anyway, threads can't be smoothly separated from the needles. You can use the special knitting needle included in this product to help. Okay, those are some whack instructions. Let's not do that, unless you want to be very sad. Okay, so I put the thread over here, right? The yarn is in here. It's going to be caught by the last needle. And so what a lot of people do is they just do a whole round without the needle, without this, but you're really going to have to pay attention when this is coming back around. And some people just do a little bit at a time and catch them then. So that's what I did in my Addy video. I just kind of cranked some, right? We're giving it a little tension here. I cranked some, and then I caught them here with my needle. And some people like to do the whole round basically, and then catch them. So like go around the whole thing. So we can do that. Let's go ahead. It's scary to me, I'm telling you, but you absolutely have to catch it before you get to that black needle, like a few steps before, because what happens if you don't, it's gonna just throw them off. So right now, if you're looking, there's still little black stitches. They're still there. How cute. We're gonna catch those in just a minute. And when you come back around the second time, it's gonna throw them off. So you don't want to get to that point. Here's the end of my thread, so that's what's gonna help us pay attention. Like right here, I'm gonna stop. Because if I keep going anymore, I don't know if you see, this one's gonna do its thing, but if we went more, these would all be doing that, and they're just gonna throw off your stitch, and then you're gonna be very sad. So let me cut this short, and I'll be right back. You know, like walking you through every step. So I just picked this up and cut off the end that was too long. Now I'm gonna close up on the stitches themselves. So basically, I'm just gonna go around, and I'll probably move the machine more than anything once I get to a spot if I can't get it. But again, this thread, we just did a whole round without any thread in here. It was just sitting in the middle of the work. So this guy is coming off of here. We're not ready for that yet. We're gonna go to basically the number 1. If you look, you know, in the little guide here, it's number 1. We're gonna pick them up. And the Addy, it said to go in front and going back and going front and going back. And honestly, when I was doing that, whenever I go back, it was easy to push the loop off, and then I lost it a couple times, and that was a real pain. So let's not do that. So number 1, I'm just gonna go in here and pick that guy up. Now, another thing I was learning when I was doing the Addy is sometimes it would pop off the next one or whatever, and I'm like, ooh. So just keep an eye out on what's going on. Like this guy, okay, I think once you get to like a quarter of this being removed, is when they'll start popping off without you even being there yet. So it's like, no, no, no. So, okay. Next one, again, just right in front. I can't really turn this machine because it's really suctioned. So next one, right in front, going through. And I do pull the thread through just because why not? The next one. And I'm just going to go and do the same thing all throughout. Just go into the next one. And some people, you know, once you get good, you're going to do maybe this one and the next one and the next one before you really pull. But honestly, you're just asking for trouble. So I just do one at a time. And I'm being very deliberate that I'm only getting the stitch that is on this thing. Because if you go right here, you can possibly catch that first one. Do you see this? That's not the stitch we're looking for. That's over here. You're going in between there and just getting the one that's on here. Now, if you catch two of them, it doesn't matter. It's better to be caught than not. That's what I'll say. Oh, look at that. My camera decided to put its own light on. It's so dark. It's like, you were staring into the abyss, woman. Let me turn on this other light. Oh, now it's off. Okay, so anyway, right in there. And okay, you're just gonna go around. Sorry about my camera. Actually, that was probably better, but right in there. And again, just keep going all the way around until we get to those last stitches that we didn't turn out yet. Remember, we left a few on, so we will get to that in just a minute. But ooh, I almost split that one. See, I can see that I split the yarn, which isn't the biggest deal, but okay, guys. Again, not this one. See, right now it's already starting to act funny. You see how it's kind of popping up? It's wanting to pop up a little bit, because once you're starting to get this off, it's like, oh, we're getting off, and the weight of the fabric and all those things make funny things happen. So just keep that down, get into that stitch, and it gets harder to get because it's loose at this point. It's starting to feel really loose. So actually, if we get it kind of a pull in the fabric, like pull it down, it probably helps. Oh, I just discovered a little tip. Okay, yeah, I'm kind of pulling this down so that this doesn't just pop up. That helps, adding a little tension down here. And keep going. I'm gonna pull it through. Oh! Yay! Don't do that. Don't do that. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, ugh, things happen, guys. Okay, let's get that. Let's get our yarn end back into our little guy here. You do not want to lose that, of course not. And as I'm tugging with that, see, I'm telling you, you do have to pay attention. So, and this is the other thing, worst comes to worst, the whole thing comes apart. Oh, I have to unravel it. Okay, just do it again. It took, 10 minutes, just do it again. Okay, so there's that one. Let's not lose our yarn end. All right, I'm gonna keep going all the way around, and I'll come back and meet you guys at those first few stitches that we haven't turned out yet. So we're back at the last few that we didn't really crank past here, okay? So that means this one's in transition, and this one, and this one, and this one, right? So this is our last one that really did not come off yet. And it's okay, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn the knob away from us, right? Like we've been doing, and go ahead and let these come over. It's just that you don't want to do that and then go past it and really mess up, because then everything falls off, right? They're little loops. So, that's funny. I was just gonna say, I think I caught that one already, right? I think I did. But either way, I think that should be, yeah, so I already have, what numbers are these? Let's see. These should be 1 and 2 over here. But either way, just advance it forward. And we're gonna take off the ones that are still left. So we have this guy. Again, you can do the whole thing at this point, but it scares me. So I'm gonna go with that guy, and then with this one. Ah, come on. Okay, and then keep advancing. So we have those two. Keep moving forward. And here's our black pin, right? So these guys have not been messed with yet. So we just definitely want to catch them when they come around. So there's that one. And then the next one. And I'm just doing them one by one because I'm still, refreshing my memory of having played with these. And I do not like picking up drop stitches. It's not the end of the world. It's not the biggest deal, but but you see I'm just doing one at a time as it comes around. And this last one. And it's still on there because we never advanced it to begin with. There you go. Yay! Let me back up a little bit. I'll just show you what that looks like. So yeah, hopefully you don't lose your yarn like I did. Your yarn needle. Okay. This is really stuck on here. Oh my gosh. It's funny because it doesn't have those little things that you can kind of pull that help you detach. So you just have to yank it. Look how pretty this fabric is. Oh my gosh, I am such a fan right now. You guys. Okay, so with the Addy, obviously, it does its thing. Is my lighting on? Yeah, my light came on again. We have this. You don't have to pull it tight yet. And to honest, you can probably just run this through again. I don't think most people take the time to look at it and say, oh, I should just run these through these loops again. You can definitely do that. Just do that. Most people pull it just tight once they get there. But let's go ahead and take this off here, even though we are going to use that in a minute. Let's open this up. And the reason I'm saying I am in love is look at this fabric. I mean, that is like the cheapest yarn in the world. It might have been $2. Now this one obviously has a different look, but like, you see how the stitches are like wide open? They were like that yesterday. It's not because my kids were wearing it and it really stretched out, which does happen, but that's just how it was. I am impressed. Oh, that scared me. I was like, oh, it's the end of this yarn. Okay. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, so again, this is the 40 pin, so it is a skinnier hat, and maybe it's gonna be too skinny for my son. Maybe it'll be for my daughter, but I'm looking at the end of this and where the end of the other one is, so we can put them on the same kind of plane. If you want this to be, let me back up as much as I can. Wow, there's a lot of things hanging around here. Let's get this stuff out of here. So basically the rest of the instructions kind of talk about, you know, pulling it tight and putting one inside the other. But look at that. Kind of interesting that this kind of bowed right here. I don't know if you can see that. It's fatter here than it is here. Let's get this all nice and straight, which isn't the biggest deal. That is already a nice fabric. You're supposed to stretch it, so let's give it a stretch. And that just kind of settles your stitches, which is very pretty. I like this, honestly, for a scarf. Like, if you're gonna keep doing this and make a scarf out of this, I like the width of that. It's really nice. Okay, so what do I wanna do? Well, we're gonna pull one side and then pull the other one, whichever one that you want. So you're gonna just kind of scrunch it up. That's what I'm saying. If you want to keep the yarn in your needle and go back around one more loop just to make that more, you can see them right exactly here. Look at all your little loops there, and that's how they don't fall off, because you cut them all. But you can definitely go around again, but most people just pull it tight already, so that's what we'll do. Let's put this back on. These yarn needles, honestly, are not quite my favorite, because the eye is so big, and this is what happened yesterday with the Sentro, with the Addy one also, is that it's so big, it just, your yarn falls right back out. Now I'm gonna go back a few, I guess, loops here. And so you can do it when it's nice and straight, and you can literally pick up each loop and do that. But I'm gonna go back through a few. Yeah, that needle's so big. Just to give it a little more tightness, and then maybe you're gonna send it back, or you know what, let's catch a stitch. So I always catch a little stitch and make a knot. And I'm so sorry that my light keeps going in and out, I don't know. Okay, and then go back in the other direction. And today I'm gonna leave this end. Actually, yeah, for now. I'm just gonna leave this, okay? This long end. I'm gonna cut it a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and use that to help me stitch it to the next piece. What you're supposed to do with this then is tuck it all the way back. Now, after having done this, I was just thinking about it. I think this side looks prettier than the beginning. I mean, it doesn't really matter. Just pick the one you like best and then shove that one up inside. So again, we're doing the same thing with this. You're pulling it to tighten it up. And we're gonna do the same thing. So what you just saw me do, I'm gonna do again here. I'm just gonna go pull this tight, kind of tuck the fabric in so it sits nicer. I'm gonna go back into the loop a little bit, tie it off, and then come back in the opposite direction, just like we did the first time. It gets overcast and all this different stuff, so anyway, that light helps, but not really. They both look pretty essentially the same. So, you know, whatever you want, but you're gonna tuck one inside the other one, and generally I do that when it was still open on the other side. But I did not, because I did this a little bit differently. So we're gonna hold that because I decided, oh, I like the other side better afterwards. This is a very long hat, as you can see. Obviously it's slouchy, you can roll up the cuff. What I'm going to do is pop this side up over here. Just because I changed my mind in the middle of the thing, guys. Generally you would have yours open still at the top, and then you bring that one side through. Anyway, I'm gonna grab that and just go right back through the center and right back up in here. That's all I'm trying to do. Let's take a look at this little guy. It is a lot smaller. That's basically what it is, and that is huge. So let me actually get a ruler so we can measure, and then we'll finish it off. How wide this is. So again, 40 pin, 40 needle. It is like 5.5 inches wide and over 12 inches long. I would say probably 14.5 inches long, and that was a whole skein, right, of the yarn. Now obviously if you have a counter and you're like, oh, I just want to use this, or measure out the weight of your yarn first, and then you'll know that you use that much or whatever. This was obviously a little bit much. We have a nice long brim if we wanted, or it's going to be super slouchy. Let's see about the stretch. And you know, it doesn't even stretch all that much. I love the look of this. I cannot get over it. Oh my goodness. I mean, look how pretty that is, and shiny and just pretty. Honestly, I'm blown away. I had no idea. This is the one from yesterday, and again, 46. And look how loose it is. That's the only thing I'm trying to impress upon y'all. Again, I think it has to do with maybe using a heavier weight yarn. I used 4 and used 4 yesterday. Let me see how far apart these pins are set. I'm looking at the needles. It looks like roughly 3/4 inches. Let me see about this machine. I don't know. They're set almost about the same width. Huh. This one might be a little smaller, the Sentro, like a little smaller in the width of the needles being set apart from each other. I don't know. Okay, so we have these two. Now, you can still work it in a little bit more, do whatever you're doing. Tie it off. You can use these ends to help you add a pom-pom. Oh, I'm not gonna make a bow. I was gonna make a bow. We're not in bow making right now. That's just kind of holding them together. I'll probably weave this in a little more in and out, obviously to bury the ends. And like I said, I got these pom-poms that I did not try out yet. And on the pom-poms that here on Amazon, I was curious is that they have a little holder, you guys. It has a little thing, so you can put this like on a keychain or whatever. And it tells you on there if they look like this to hit them with a blow dryer, because it'll like wake them up. Because right now they're just kind of like, bleh, you know. But what you can do with this is also pop this through here and sew a button on the inside, and you can pop it through, and then it'll hold on to the button, or basically the button has to be tied from here down, right? So the button's on the inside. Or you can just use this guy in there and maybe tack it down with something else, or you can use these guys to tack it down, or not even use that loop and just use your stitching to hold it down. Very cute addition, but we'll talk about those later. I just wanted to show you that that's another option to quickly make a hat and make it really cute. So like we did before in the other video and every other video I'm sure that you've seen, we're just going to work our ends in. I am super impressed, and I'm sorry I don't have pictures of like people wearing the hats. I have a huge head and I don't really normally wear a lot of hats, but I have a feeling like with the Addy I can probably make a hat that I would like. And that's, yeah, every time I go somewhere to visit and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna buy a hat. So we go to like the little hat shops, like in Carmel or in Monterey or like in Hawaii. And I'm like, nope, they do not fit. All right, so anyway, I'm just gonna bring this back to the inside and loop it around some more and bury the ends and all that kind of stuff. So, you can go in and out of the hats together too, just so that they stay together even more if you wanted to. But since this is the inside of the hat and it's exactly the same, there's no really reversing this or no need to reverse it. I'm just gonna do what I want. So one knot and then maybe another knot in that same spot, because that's basically a half a knot, isn't it? So there we go. And maybe back around a little bit more. Sorry if my camera didn't do anything like this yesterday, and I guess it's because I'm using black yarn, but also it's like overcast. Look at this thing. Woo! I'm telling you. There we go. And I'll do the same thing with the other end, and that will be it, guys. So thanks for watching. I hope that gave you some idea of how to use these. I am super impressed with this knitting machine. Like, that knit stitch looks really nice. I can't get over it. I should have shown you what the other side looks like, the purl side, because you can also use on the purl side. If you want to make your hat, just turn it inside out the other way and have the purl side facing out. But most time people have the knit side facing out, so it's whatever you like. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll have the links in the description box, and I'll see you all at the next one. Bye now.